All right, Dana mentioned it already yesterday, but this is sort of the sister event of this event, and it's happening in mid-late September in Hamburg, Germany, and it's a great event. It's a little different from this event in the sense that it has a rather specific topic. It's certainly open to anything HDF that is interesting and relevant, but we want to focus at this event. It will have a lot of participants from European light sources, but also a little bit of industry and so forth. And they are very worried and interested in, we talked a lot about compression methods and so forth, but they are interested in, okay, 20 years from now, in light sources, for example, they use very specialized compression methods and so forth. So how can we be sure that in 20 years people will have no problems locating those plugins, locating the source code, building source code, and accessing their data, and be confident that the integrity is there and they can reproduce the data without any issues. And so this will be sort of a special topic for this event, and we want to think about sort of take a divide and conquer approach, where the question is, we as HDF group, what can we do? The different research institutions, the developers of these compression methods, and so who is responsible for what, and then what do we need in terms of infrastructure for testing, and for example, the project that Mark presented this morning, this is another thing, just for people, how can people discover what's available in terms of compression methods, play with it, how does it behave with my data and so forth. So people need a lot more of that, and so this is what this is about. And maybe we get even to the point of defining, we want to share infrastructure, defining interfaces that people can use to make sure that their part of the ecosystem is sort of compatible, and maybe even think about certifying certain things for specific, but also think about reference platforms. Think about, can we standardize on one platform when it comes to where do we establish truth? Maybe adopt something like that, and then identify infrastructure needs and see how we can resource all that. And it's also, it of course aligns. The European Commission has a lot of initiatives in this space, but also if you look at NASA, the Year of Open Science, NSF, the POSE and other efforts and so forth. And then last but not least, I mean, Hamburg is a great place, great buildings, great city. Unfortunately, the DESY campus is about, I'd say, an hour outside of the sort of the heart of the city, but nevertheless, great public transportation there. So if you get a chance, I think it will be hybrid. So if you can't come to Hamburg, then join us online, but it's going to be a fun event. And actually, Dana and I will be there for sure from the HDF group. And and if you have anything, go ahead, Mark.
So when we introduce the feature of user block, where you really can stick any user data, H5 dump was stick there. So you just type on the system name of your file and file prints itself. So, this kind of tricks really, and it is not new trick. Even HDF4 at some point, people were storing foreign programs with the data. So the file you can look with VI editor, get foreign program and read the data. So it's many options available.
And there is already sort of, we see problems that or we recognize that this is a problem. I just had the chance of as part of reorganizing our documentation, for example, there is this infamous list of registered plugin IDs. I just happened to, I converted it to a markdown file because it should live with the source code, with the library, rather than on a weird Confluence page or something like that. And in going through this, converting it to markdown, I tried to locate I'm sure there were at least 5, 6 different instances where the user, the email bounces, the repo is gone, and so yeah, it's urgent that we address this.
On that topic, perhaps I'm preempting something you already know about. Is there any discussion of adding extra plugin metadata like versions, forcing certain APIs?
Yeah, so there's a link to that conference on the agenda. The link for Gerd's talk goes to the information for the conference. So thank you, Gerd.